Welcome to 15-minute battles, where we demolish history's biggest conflicts in just 15 minutes. We dive deep into the world's most pivotal military clashes, from the ancient battlefields of Marathon to the complex strategies of modern warfare. The leaders, who were the legendary generals and forgotten heroes commanding the troops, and finally, the outcomes. If you love history, military strategy, and learning something new quickly, you are in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss another historic clash.
Ever heard the phrase, a Pyrrhic victory? It means winning a battle, but losing the war. A victory that costs so much it feels like a defeat. Today, we're diving into the incredible true story behind that phrase. A tale of clashing empires, brilliant generals, and a secret weapon that shook the ancient world. This is the story of King Pyrrhus and his epic yet tragic invasion of Italy. Our story begins in 280 BCE. The Roman Republic is on the rise, a hungry young power expanding its influence across the Italian peninsula. One by one, cities are falling under its sway. But in the south, the proud Greek city of Tarentum looks on with growing fear. They see the Roman storm clouds gathering on the horizon and know they can't stand against them alone. Desperate, they send out a call for help, a plea across the Adriatic Sea to the kingdom of Epirus. And the man who answers that call is none other than King Pyrrhus. Now, Pyrrhus wasn't just any king. He was considered the greatest military mind of his generation, a tactical genius on par with the best of them. And he had the pedigree to back it up. He was a cousin of Alexander the Great himself. Like Alexander, Pyrrhus dreamed of glory, of forging a vast empire. When Tarentum called, he didn't just see a city in need. He saw an opportunity to carve out a new kingdom for himself in the rich lands of Italy and Sicily, maybe even rivaling the legacy of his famous cousin. So, with visions of conquest dancing in his head, Pyrrhus gathered his army. This was a professional force, honed in the constant wars of the Hellenistic kingdoms that followed Alexander's death. He assembled a formidable fleet and set sail for Italy, landing with thousands of infantry, cavalry, and a weapon the Romans had never before encountered. As his boots touched Italian soil, Pyrrhus was ready. He was confident. He was here to build an empire, and the first obstacle standing in his way was the unstoppable force of the Roman legions. The stage was set for one of history's most fascinating military showdowns. The first major clash came near the city of Heraclea. On one side, you have the Roman Republic's citizen soldiers. Don't let the citizen part fool you. These were tough, disciplined, and incredibly motivated men fighting for their homeland. Their core strength was the legion, but specifically, a tactical formation called the maniple. Think of it like a checkerboard. Instead of one solid line of soldiers, the Romans arranged their maniples small, flexible units of about 120 men in multiple lines with gaps in between. This gave their army incredible flexibility. They could maneuver easily over rough terrain. They could let tired frontline troops fall back and fresh troops move up, and they could absorb a charge and then counterattack from the flanks. It was a system built for grinding, sustained combat. On the other side, you have Pyrrhus and his Greek-style army. The heart of his force was the mighty Macedonian phalanx. This was a dense formation of soldiers, each armed with a sarissa, an incredibly long spear, sometimes up to 18 feet long. When the phalanx presented its front to the enemy, it was like a giant moving wall of spear points. It was an offensive juggernaut designed to steamroll everything in its path. It had dominated battlefields for decades under Alexander the Great. Pyrrhus, a master of Hellenistic warfare, knew exactly how to wield it. He supported his phalanx with elite cavalry on the wings, ready to deliver the finishing blow once the enemy's infantry line was broken. So at Heraclea, you had this incredible contrast in military philosophy: the flexible, resilient Roman maniples versus the overwhelming, powerful Greek phalanx. The battle began, and it was brutal. The Roman legionaries charged forward, throwing their heavy javelins, the pila, before crashing into the wall of spears. The phalanx held firm. For hours, the battle raged under the hot Italian sun. It was a bloody, grinding stalemate. The phalanx, a weapon of immense power, couldn't break the stubborn, flexible Roman lines. The Romans would charge, get repulsed, fall back through their own ranks to rest, and then a fresh line of legionaries would surge forward to take their place. Pyrrhus was getting frustrated. His main weapon wasn't delivering the decisive breakthrough he expected. The Romans were bleeding, but they weren't breaking. He needed something to shatter their morale, something to break their will to fight. And he had just the thing. As the battle hung in the balance and his own troops were tiring, Pyrrhus unleashed his secret weapon. From behind his lines, a sound began to swell, a strange trumpeting the Romans had never heard. Then they appeared, towering over the battlefield, lumbering forward with terrifying force, were 20 war elephants. For the Roman soldiers, this was the stuff of nightmares. They had never seen an elephant before. To them, these were monstrous gray beasts from a land of myths, with armored towers on their backs carrying archers. The psychological impact was immediate and utterly devastating. Horses, terrified by the smell and sight of the elephants, panicked and bolted, throwing the Roman cavalry into chaos. The infantry, who had fought so bravely and for so long against the phalanx, now faced a new, incomprehensible terror. These weren't just for show. The elephants were weapons of shock and awe. They smashed into the exhausted and wavering Roman lines. The beasts trampled men underfoot, gored them with their tusks, and grabbed soldiers with their trunks, flinging them through the air. The disciplined Roman maniples, the formation that had held for so long, finally broke. It was a complete rout. The legionaries, gripped by fear, threw down their weapons and fled the field. Pyrrhus had his victory. He had met the Romans and defeated them. But as the dust settled and the sounds of battle faded, replaced by the groans of the wounded, Pyrrhus walked the field of battle. And what he saw horrified him. The ground was littered with bodies, both Roman and Greek. Yes, he had won, but the cost was staggering. He had lost thousands of his veteran soldiers, the core of his professional army. Even worse, many of his best friends, his most trusted generals and officers, who had campaigned with him for years, lay dead. These were men he couldn't easily replace. The Romans, on the other hand, had a seemingly endless supply of manpower. They could raise a new army in a matter of weeks. Pyrrhus could not. Looking at the carnage surrounded by the ruinous price of his success, Pyrrhus is said to have uttered one of the most famous lines in military history. If we are victorious in one more battle with the Romans, we shall be utterly undone. He understood in that moment a profound truth. He had won the day's fight, but he was losing the long-term war of attrition. He could beat a Roman army, but he couldn't beat the Roman Republic's iron will and its deep reserves of fighting men. And that, right there, is the origin of the term Pyrrhic victory, a victory that comes at such a devastating cost. It's tantamount to a defeat. Pyrrhus would go on to fight the Romans again, and he would even win again at the Battle of Asculum. But that victory was just as costly as the first, further draining his irreplaceable army. His campaign in Italy ultimately failed. He couldn't break the Roman spirit. He eventually abandoned his Italian adventure, defeated not by a single general, but by the relentless determination of an entire republic. His story serves as a timeless lesson. Winning on the battlefield is only half the struggle. True victory requires not just tactical genius, but the strategic foresight to know which battles are worth the price of fighting. Pyrrhus won the battles, but Rome won the war. Thanks for watching. If you found this piece of history as fascinating as I do, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more epic stories from the ancient world.
And that wraps up today's 15-minute battle. If you want to master more moments of military history in less time, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you for the next 15-minute battle.